Hello ladies and gentlemen, real quick before we get started on this video, I just wanted to put this preface in here and say, next week, starting next week, we're going to get back to serial videos. I know, weird. I've been doing a lot of quick look videos and I kind of feel like I've been avoiding things, and I don't like that. I like my series, I like my walkthroughs, and I haven't done them in a while. Ever since I finished up Octodad, I've been kind of just quick looking at everything. And while it's not too bad a thing, and starting in this new month, I want to get back. I got a few series that I want to wrap up, specifically Kingdom Hearts and Outlast 2. I knew what I was going to say. I want to get in and finish those up because I haven't finished those yet. But yeah, apart from that, I am hopefully going to finish up I Am Bread. Hopefully. As such, remember, I'm going to start streaming live on Twitch after I finish the I Am Bread live stream series. With the exception, of course, of the upcoming live stream for Warframe 2nd Dream Quest. I'm going to do that back on my YouTube channel, on this channel. Because, well, this is where the audience is that wants to see it, and I don't want to drag them to another site to watch it. Apart from that, if you're not following me on Twitter, I'm Stepsbasic85, at Stepsbasic85 on Twitter. I post announcements, I post updates there, and I mostly just joke around and pay compliments to people who comment and leave their tweets. Anyway, to the video. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Stepsbasic, and welcome back to my community show. That's terrible. Anyway, so today we got an interesting topic to talk about, and this one actually kind of stems from something I was watching earlier, from Jacksepticeye. You know, the guy who I talk about a lot because I like him. He's a really good kid. But anyway, this one's about Persona. I know, not the JRPG. Persona as in the character that you create, the person who you are, who you portray to the world around you. And more importantly, in this case, we're talking about our internet persona, our gaming persona, our who we are outside of a who we are. Now, in most cases, the persona that you put forward is, in fact, you, but to a different degree. Most people on the internet, especially people who live on the internet, and for those of you who live on the internet, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Well, they have issues in dealing with the real world. I'm one of them. I have issues in the real life. And it makes it really difficult for me to really be who I am out there. Now, granted, if I know you, you know exactly who I am. And I am, quite frankly, the person that you see on the camera. But if I'm not comfortable, if I'm in a place I don't know, if I'm around people I don't know, I'm a clam. I am very different. And when you first meet me, I'm going to be warm to you. I'm going to be as outgoing as I possibly can. But I'm not going to be as exuberant as you may be used to seeing, like, say, on these shows right here. Because, well, quite frankly, I'm nervous. I know I don't look like it. I exude an aura of confidence here. But, you know, that's kind of an interesting little thing, you know. There was I wish I could remember who it was, but there's a psychological term for it. People act differently when you put a camera on them. And that was very much me. If you want to see how bad I am, or how bad I was, when I first started YouTube, go to my main channel. Look up the first video I ever posted.
And sells in a few of the big name places. Barnes & Noble is the one that comes to mind right away. They offer additional services such as editing, graphic design, etc.
I was so bad I had to invent a character while I was editing that video just to make it more appealing. Because it was awkward. I was very slow, very monotonous. I was talking very calmly and very sedately, and this is about what it sounded like too. It was weird. You know, it's not me. It's not who you see every day, every Friday, every day, every gaming video. It's not the Stepsbasic that you know. Because I was nervous, because I was uncomfortable. And then when I went back and editing it, I'm like, this is not going to appeal to anybody. This is going to be horrible. They're going to look at it and be like, who is this drab, blah person? So I started throwing in subtitles. That's where my subtitle character came from. My subtitle guy, he's technically the future me. I needed him a lot more back in the beginning of the series, back in the beginning of my channels. I needed him a lot more over there because, well, I've said it before, I was uncomfortable. But then as I just started to get more comfortable around the camera, I started to develop what I call the persona, the Stepsbasic that you guys know today. Stop blooping, what you talking about over that phone? And I mean, if you listen to my accent, and if you've watched anything from my other videos, from my other channel, you know exactly what accent this is. This is Vic. Vic was one of my cooking episodes. You know, he was my Vic character. He made good food cheap and quick. He was great. And Vic is the confident one. He's the one that exudes the personality. It's my personality, but he's the one that makes it a lot more approachable. Now, my example of what a persona is, much like Jacksepticeye when he was talking about it, it's like I connected with that really easily because, you know, he put forth his character a lot more back in the beginning of his show. As Jacksepticeye, he had a much more over-the-top accent where he wanted people to know he was Irish, essentially. And if you've followed him as long as I have, you will have seen that change. You will have seen that as he got more comfortable with who he is as Jacksepticeye. You will have seen that develop. And the same with me, except I went in the reverse. I stayed, when I first started my gaming channel, I was very, like I said, like very mellow. Go back to Outlast series or...
Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Stephen Andrew Phillips, and welcome to Let's Play Outlast.
Outlast was the first series I made, although it wasn't the first series on this channel. It was the first series I made on my other channel before I switched all my gaming videos to this channel. But that was where I started. Outlast 1. That was the very first video I ever made. The very first gaming video I ever made. And you will notice a huge difference between that Stepsbasic, except back then I was still Stephen Phillips, but that Stepsbasic and this Stepsbasic.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Stepsbasic, and welcome back to Let's Play Warframe.
Huge difference. But like I was saying before I got sidetracked and talking about me again, I'm not very vain. I don't know why I keep shifting to me. Maybe because a writer writes what he knows, right? But anyway, there are other personas that are not as good as, like, say, me. I put my persona, I just kick it up a bit so that you guys can actually see the real me rather than the person that you would probably meet at first. I show you the person that's known you for at least a year or two. I show you the person that's comfortable around you. That's me. Other personas are not as good. Now, for the most part, people will use what they know will get views, or people will use what they know will get clicks. They may go for the shock value, shock comics, shock jocks, people who just want to say controversial things just because they want people to click and watch and view and comment and subscribe and etc., etc., etc. And I'm not one to tell people what to do, but honestly, I will never subscribe to somebody like that. I avoid people like that, like the plague. As best as I can, anyway. I won't tell people not to subscribe because that's their choice. If they like that shock sort of value stuff, that's up to them. Almost equally as damaging as the shock jock, though, are the evangelicals. And now, I say that But I'm using that as a classification, not as an actual reference to a religious person. But they are the people whose persona they put forward on the internet is always bright, shiny, happy, bubbly, always the good person. But in real life, they're scumbags. Whereas the shock jock might be the nicest person you ever meet in real life, but once you turn on the camera, once you give them that microphone, they become that jerk. Sorry, puppers. I scared the puppy. The evangelical type, they're the exact opposite. They're the ones that are snapping at people. They're the ones that are throwing coffee in their assistants' faces. They're the ones that are always arguing with the baristas at Starbucks. They're the ones that are always sending their food back with as many snide remarks about low-income people as they can. But then they put the camera on them, and all of a sudden, hello, all you wonderful people. Welcome to my show. I love you so much. They don't love you. And when you meet them in real life, you'll know immediately that they are not good people. And that's why I think they're just as damaging as the shock jocks are. Because, well, for lack of a better term, they're liars. And if they put out this persona of, I'm a holier than thou, beautiful, wonderful person who thinks that the whole world is just sugar and rainbows, but in my real life I act like a total jerk, and then say you got kids who watch this, and then turns around and meets said person in real life, and said person is a real jerk to everybody else around them, my kid says, oh, okay, that's what you gotta be? I can do that. That's easy. And then all of a sudden you're getting calls from the principal saying, hey, your kid's being a jerk. Really? Now luckily that's not my kid. My kid's got a good head on her shoulder. She knows how to she knows not to emulate what she sees on the YouTubes or the TV. I mean, we don't really watch very much that she can't watch. I mean, vulgarity is one thing. Vulgarity is, I'm a sailor. Vulgarity, to most of my experience, is just like a filler word. Like I say a lot. And so, as such, vulgarity is just that to me. It's just another word. But vulgarity directed in anger, now that's not just a word. So that's why we're okay watching Jacksepticeye when he gets vulgar and starts swearing. No big deal. But then when other people turn around and start swearing directly at somebody in a very mean and hostile way, that's bad. And that's what you'll see a lot from these evangelical personas, is their real life, they're okay treating everyone else like scum. And sometimes not even in a vulgar way, just in a very rude way. Now, in my opinion, there's no such thing as, quote, a bad persona. There are damaging ones. There are ones that you should probably avoid. And to be perfectly honest, if you're not presenting yourself, I don't believe that you should be doing that. Now, there are characters. You can play characters. I play characters. I play Vic, like I mentioned earlier. But at the same time, a character is not my persona. A character is my character, much like Jeffrey is my character. You know, he's the paladin. Like I said, you got the me, which is basically the me persona. I'll use that as a descriptor so I don't have to keep referencing myself. But the me persona, whereas you're just putting out you, but on a bigger level. Then you got the shock jock persona. Then you got the evangelical persona. But then there's the intellectual persona. I don't know if you understand what I say when I say that. I'm not talking about actual intellectual people. I'm not talking about smart people. I'm talking about the intellectual persona. Meaning, much like the shock jock, much like the evangelical, they feel like they are superior because they have knowledge. Now, these are the people you run into a lot in the comments section, or you'll run into a lot on Twitter or other such places where the person will come on with the, well, actually. And yes, it's okay. It's good. It's good that you know things. It's very good that you know things. But when you treat other people inferior, or as inferiors, because they don't know these things, that's the bad part. And that's why I don't particularly like that persona. I'm trying to think of some good personas out there. I mean, there's obviously the me persona, which is probably my favorite and probably the one I will always recommend you always do. Because if it's not you that you're putting out there, then your lies will be uncovered. And as such, like the evangelical, they'll be discovered to be the jerk that they are. The shock jock, well, they'll probably be called out for all the shocking stuff that they say, and then the good person that's hiding behind the mask will feel that pain. And the intellectual will always slip up. They will always reveal their ignorance. So if you're not being the me persona, you're setting yourself up for failure. Is more an apt way to put it. And as such, that's the only persona I feel that anyone should ever put forth on the internet. The only persona you should use in your gaming. You should never try to be someone you're not. Because, like I said, the lies will find their way. But anyway, I guess that's all I really got for you today. I mean, if you have any idea for what other personas there are, go ahead and leave those for me down in the comments section, and I might address them at a later date, because chances are we've all run into all of these people I've talked about, whether through videos, comments, or Twitter or whatnot and whatnot. More than likely, we've all run into them at some point. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please go ahead and poke that like button for me. If you'd like to, of course, you can comment down below and I will get back to you as soon as I can, when I can, if I can, you know, all that jazz. And tune in next time for more talking about stuff, because that's what we do on this Friday episode. And until then, good night.